It is believed that crows can communicate with the dead, but what if a human possessed this superpower? Something similar happens to a drug addict named Eric when he and his girlfriend are killed by a group of thugs. When Eric opens his eyes, he finds himself in another world. He is surrounded by crows who grant him powers that enable his body to heal even from the most severe injuries. But why was Eric chosen to receive these powers? What price does he ultimately pay for them? The story unfolds as we seek answers to these questions. At the beginning of the story, we meet a young Eric. When he returns home, he finds his horse caught in the fence and badly injured. His mother lies unconscious drunk and there is no one around to help. Eric tries to free the horse but severely injures his own hands while removing the wire. Despite his efforts, Eric is unable to save the horse. The deep scars on his hands become a permanent reminder of that day. He often dreams about the painful moment when his horse suffered and he could do nothing to save it. 15 years later, a girl named Sahil is introduced. She receives a video message from her friend Jade. When Sahil opens the video, she is horrified to see evidence of murder implicating a powerful and influential man named Vincent Roach. Jade plans to expose Vincent and take revenge, but she also realizes it would be best to leave the city and hide. Jade warns Sahil not to contact or meet anyone. However, when Jade arrives at her apartment, she is captured by a group of men. A woman named Marian takes Jade's phone and checks her call history. Jade is knocked unconscious and kidnapped, and all evidence is destroyed. Sahil senses her life is in danger. She calls Dom for help, but he does not answer. Frightened, Sahil immediately leaves her house. After walking some distance, he notices a man following her. While trying to escape, she runs into some policemen. However, the officers help Sahil, but upon inspecting her belongings, they find drugs. She is arrested. The small amount of drugs leads to her being sent to a rehabilitation center for recovery. At the rehab center, we see Eric as an adult. His childhood, marked by his alcoholic mother, pushed him into the depths of drug addiction. Despite several suicide attempts, Eric survived each one. He endures bullying from others at the center but remains silent as his life's struggles far outweigh their cruelty. One night, Eric tries to take his own life again. However, he notices Sahil and takes an immediate liking to her, abandoning his suicide plan. Meanwhile, the story introduces Vincent, who owns an opera house that serves as a front for his criminal empire. Marian informs Vincent that they have found Jade. Vincent immediately leaves everything to confront her. He demands to know Jade's friend Sahil's whereabouts. Terrified, Jade can't answer. Vincent boasts about having killed many girls over the past century. He justifies his actions by claiming he eliminates bad people destined for hell. Vincent admits he made a pact with the devil, exchanging innocent souls to ensure he himself avoids hell. Jade pleads for mercy, but Vincent whispers something in her ear that compels her to lose control. She uses a sharp instrument to stab her throat, ending her life painfully. Vincent then sends her soul to hell. Unaware of these events, Sahil begins to feel safe in rehab. She notices Eric, and despite strict rules against communication between boys and girls, they begin taking through gestures. Group activities provide opportunities for them to grow closer. One day, Sahil sneaks into Eric's room, avoiding the guards. She admires Eric's wall drawings and asks to keep some of them. She also notices the scars on his hands from past suicide attempts. Suddenly, an announcement declares that patient number 105 has a visitor. Eric knows this refers to Sahil. Nervous, Sahil insists that no one in the city knows her. Eric reassures her, offering to investigate. Eric sees people outside and mistakes them for lawyers, but Sahil recognizes Marian. Terrified, Sahil begs Eric to help her hide. Eric, aware of the trackers on their ankles, knows escaping is futile. Nonetheless, he leads Sahil to the laundry room and they escape through a vent to the ground floor. They jump the fence and run before the security guards can catch them. The pair hitch a ride and travel far from the city. Sahil takes Eric to her friend's vacant apartment. She tells him it's unsafe for him to stay, but Eric refuses to leave her alone. Fearing capture, They remain in the apartment for several days. During this time, they share stories of their past struggles and bond over their experiences. Their closeness deepens as they find solace in each other's company. Meanwhile, some people discover Jade's lifeless body floating in the water and immediately inform the police. However, the police are also under Vincent's control. When Vincent hears about this, he orders Marian to find and kill Sahil as quickly as possible. Unaware of these events, Sahil and Eric are enjoying life. They go camping in the forest where Sahil begins to play music, temporarily forgetting her troubles. One day, while playing the piano, Sahil is overcome by painful memories. She confides in Eric that as a child, her mother forced her to do things she didn't want to do for money. Sahil admits she has hurt people in the past but refrains from sharing details, fearing Eric will leave her if he learns the truth. But Eric comforts her, revealing that on the night they first met, he had been on the verge of committing suicide. "I changed my mind after meeting you," Eric says, promising Sahil he will never leave her. Later, Sahil takes Eric to a dance club. While they are dancing, Dom sees them and wants Sahil to leave immediately. Dom informs her that Jade has been murdered and that those responsible are now after her. When Eric asks who Dom is, Sahil promises to explain everything once they get home. As soon as they return to their apartment, Vincent's men attack. Eric watches in horror as Sahil is killed before his eyes. Shortly after, Eric succumbs to his injuries and dies. Before his death, Eric has visions of Sahil drowning in water. When Eric emerges from the water, he realizes he is somehow still alive. A mysterious man appears and tells Eric to follow him. Confused, Eric assumes this is a hallucination caused by drugs because he is now seeing a world unlike anything he has ever known. The place is eerily desolate with the cries of crows echoing through the silence. "Where am I? Where is this place?" Eric asks. The man introduces himself as Kronos and replies, "You are exactly where you need to be." He explains that crows guide souls to their rightful destination after death, but sometimes when the death is exponentially violent, the soul struggles to find peace. Eric struggles to confront Kronos' words and attempts to leave, believing it's all just a nightmare. However, the place seems endless. "Perhaps you didn't understand yet," Kronos says. He pushes Eric, sending him back to the living world. Eric awakens in the apartment and calls out for Sahil, but then he hears someone approaching outside. It is one of Vincent's men pretending to be a policeman. "You don't have to hide," the man calls out to Eric. "Come out, I am here to help." Eric, drawn in by man's words, begins to tell his story. Suddenly, the man shoots him, believing Eric to be dead. The man turns to leave, but Eric, miraculously alive, kills him. Eric survives. His injuries are severe, with his intestines spilling from his body. Screaming in agony, he pushes them back into place and watches as his body heals itself. The voices of Kronos echo in his mind, and he notices a crow constantly following him. Eric sees Sahil standing on a bridge and jumps into the water to save her. The water, he is transported back to Kronos. Now understanding that both he and Sahil are dead, Eric asks Kronos, "Why isn't Sahil with me?" Kronos explains that Sahil is in hell. "If you wish, you can bring her back," he says. "The people who killed you don't deserve to live. They have disturbed the balance and you must restore it. Kill them all and you will reclaim your life. You will retain these powers as long as the love between you and Sahil remains true. However, you will feel every injury you endure." Eric returns to the living world. First, he visits a friend to obtain weapons, then tracks down Sahil's mother, Sophia. Sophia lies, claiming Sahil died of a drug overdose. Eric encounters, "I was there when they killed her. Don't lie to me. I loved Sahil and I will kill everyone involved in her death, even you, if necessary." Then next, Eric searches Sahil's room, finding old photographs and an entry pass to a theater. He goes to the theater and encounters the man who killed him. Eric holds him at gunpoint, demanding the names and addresses of the others. When the man threatens him, Eric instinctively kills him. As Eric leaves the theater, he sees Marian. He shoots at her, but the bullet doesn't penetrate her car's bulletproof glass. A chase ensues, ending with Eric falling from the car and being crushed by a truck. Though his healing powers save him, the pain is unbearable. Meanwhile, Vincent interrogates Sophia and learns that Eric has come back to life. Vincent kills Sophia and orders his men to capture Eric alive. Eric tracks down Dom and discovers that Vincent is behind everything. Vincent manipulates people's minds, bringing out the worst in them. Searching an apartment, Eric finds a phone containing the video Jade sent. The video reveals that under Vincent's orders, Sahil had murdered someone. The murderer was so brutal that Eric couldn't bring himself to watch the entire video. The horrifying image of Sahil in the act stays in his mind, and he begins to suspect that her love for him and had been false. Eric's friend urges him to learn the whole truth before making any judgments. But before Eric can act, Vincent's men attack them. Eric fights off the attackers but is shot. This time his body does not heal. In the end, Eric dies. When Eric opens his eyes, he finds himself standing before Kronos once more. Kronos explains that Eric's healing powers have vanished because he failed to complete his mission and doubted Sahil's love. Kronos tells him Sahil can't be saved now, but you can regain your life if you forget her. Eric refuses. I truly love Sahil and am willing to take her place in hell, he declares. Hearing Eric's words, a flock of crows surrounds him. Kronos chants a spell mixing his own blood with Eric's. Eric's body begins to change, his blood turning black as he screams in unbearable pain. Now Eric gains the ability to travel between both the living and the dead worlds, given another chance to defeat Vincent. Eric awakens in his dead body and sets out to kill everyone who harmed him and Sahil. Through a phone call intercepted from one of Vincent's men, Eric learns that Marian will be at the opera house. Preparing for the confrontation, Eric applies makeup, giving himself a fearsome, terrifying appearance. At the opera house, Eric begins his vengeance, brutally killing everyone present. Swords, knives, and bullets hurt him but fail to stop him. The massacre leaves a pile of dead bodies in his wake. Eric confronts Marian, demanding to know Vincent's location. Though Marian gives him the information, Eric slits her and her assistant's throats and throws their bodies into the middle of the audience during a performance, creating chaos in the opera house. Eric then makes his way to Vincent's private villa. He finds Vincent combing his hair, placing a sword to Vincent's neck. Eric orders him to turn around. Unfazed, Vincent screams, cuts off his own hand, and says, I am just a man, I have no superpowers, anyone can kill me. However, Vincent suddenly attacks Eric with a sharp weapon. Upon seeing Eric's black blood, he realizes Eric possesses supernatural powers. Vincent whispers sinister words into Eric's ear, attempting to steal his abilities. He tries to take control of Eric's soul by forcing him to relive his worst memories. Eric fights back and transports himself and Vincent to another realm. There, Vincent finds himself in the afterlife without having physically died, but because of his countless sins, Vincent is judged immediately. Demons from hell appear, dragging Vincent into the depths of torment and giving him a painful end. With his mission complete, Eric fulfills the terms of his pact and Sahil's soul is freed from hell. Eric tells Sahil, I can't return. I made a deal. Before Sahil can understand, she finds herself back in her apartment. Kronos appears before her and explains that Eric sacrificed his life to save her. Sahil turns around and sees Eric's lifeless body laying there. Overwhelmed with grief, she breaks down in tears. Sahil recalls all the moments she shared with Eric. Meanwhile, in the other realm, Eric takes Kronos' place. His destiny now ties him to that world, where he must remain until someone else arrives to take his position. Eric accepts his fate, certain that one day he and Sahil will be reunited. This story is one of Eric's ultimate sacrifice and Sahil's rebirth. It shows that there is no power greater than love and the willingness to sacrifice everything for it. So friends, how did you like this movie? Do tell us in the comments box, and for such movie explanation please subscribe to Movie Recap English. See you in the next movie. Till then, bye bye, take care.